Grandparents mean well. They want the best for their grandkids, and their words are often spoken with love. But sometimes, without realizing it, certain comments can do more harm than good. A simple question, a passing remark, it may seem harmless, but to a grandchild, it can feel like criticism, pressure, or even rejection. And if you like the video, remember to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. Over time, these words can create emotional distance. The good news? Avoiding these mistakes is easy once you recognize them. In this video, we'll go over 7 things grandparents should never say, and what to say instead to build stronger, healthier relationships. Let's get started. First thing you should never say, when are you getting married? For many grandparents, marriage is one of life's most important milestones. In their generation, settling down early was the norm, and asking about marriage was just part of everyday conversation. But times have changed. Today, people marry later, prioritize careers, or choose not to marry at all. Some struggle with relationships, others face heartbreak, and some simply aren't ready. For many young people, this question isn't just annoying, it's stressful. A 28-year-old woman shared how every family gathering became something she dreaded because her grandmother would always ask, "Still single? When are you getting married?" She loved her grandmother deeply, but this one question made her feel like she was a disappointment. And it's not just women who feel this pressure. Young men face expectations too, often hearing things like "you need to settle down" or "a man your age should be thinking about a family." So why is this question harmful? It creates unnecessary pressure. Your grandchild might already feel worried about their love life. Constant reminders can make them feel like they're failing, even when they're perfectly happy. It can be painful. What if they recently went through a breakup? What if they want to get married but haven't found the right person? What if they've chosen to stay single? Asking about marriage can unintentionally bring up sadness, frustration, or insecurity. It can make family gatherings stressful. Instead of looking forward to visits, they might start avoiding conversations because they don't want to deal with uncomfortable questions. A better approach? Focus on their happiness, interests, and achievements. Instead of making their relationship status the topic of discussion, ask questions that show you care about them as a person. What's something exciting happening in your life right now? I love hearing about your hobbies. What's new with you? I'm so proud of everything you're doing. Tell me more about what you're working on. These kinds of conversations make young people feel supported, valued, and understood without any pressure. At the end of the day, what matters most is the connection you share. Your grandkids will always remember how you made them feel. Make sure it's something they treasure. Second thing you should never say, back in my day, we had it tougher. Many grandparents grew up in difficult times. They worked hard, faced struggles, and overcame challenges without the conveniences that younger generations have today. It's natural to want to share those experiences. But saying things like "you don't know what hard work is" or "life was so much harder when I was your age" can feel dismissive rather than inspiring. A young man in his 20s shared how every conversation with his grandfather turned into a history lesson about how much harder life used to be. Instead of bonding, he felt like his struggles weren't taken seriously. Why does this kind of statement create distance instead of connection? It dismisses their struggles. Every generation faces unique challenges. Today's world is different. Jobs, education, and social pressures have changed. Just because struggles look different doesn't mean they're easier. It shuts down real conversation. If a grandchild tries to open up about their challenges and hears, "you have it easy," they may feel unheard and stop sharing their thoughts altogether. It creates resentment. Instead of feeling inspired by their grandparents' stories, young people may start feeling like they're constantly being judged or compared. A better way to connect is by sharing stories without comparison and encouraging deeper conversations. Instead of dismissing their struggles, try asking questions like, "I remember working hard when I was younger. What's the biggest challenge you face these days? Things were different when I was young, but I'd love to understand what life is like for you now." I want to hear more about what you're working toward. What are you most excited about? This small shift changes the conversation from a competition about hardships to an opportunity for connection. A grandson who once felt dismissed shared how things changed when his grandfather stopped comparing struggles and started asking about his life instead. Suddenly, their conversations became meaningful, and he felt truly understood. Young people respect their grandparents' wisdom, but they also want to feel heard. Instead of proving how much harder things used to be, focus on building an open, supportive conversation that bridges the generation gap rather than widening it. The goal isn't just to pass down stories, but to strengthen your bond so those stories are appreciated, remembered, and valued for years to come. Third thing you should never say: you should lose/gain weight. Grandparents often comment on their grandkids' appearance without thinking twice. It might seem harmless, even caring, especially if it comes from a place of concern for their health. But saying things like "you'd be so much prettier if you lost a little weight" or "you look too thin," "are you eating enough?" can be deeply hurtful. A 17-year-old girl shared how her grandmother once casually told her, "You need to watch your weight." She thought about that comment for years. Every time she looked in the mirror, she remembered it. What her grandmother saw as helpful advice had actually planted the seed of insecurity. Here's why weight-related comments can damage self-esteem. They can make someone feel unworthy. A grandchild hearing this message may start believing their value is tied to their appearance rather than who they are as a person. They can lead to unhealthy habits. Many people develop unhealthy eating patterns, crash diets, or even body image issues because of comments made about their weight. They can strain relationships. If a grandchild feels like their body is being judged, they may start avoiding conversations or spending less time with the person making the comments. Instead of commenting on appearance, focus on what truly matters: who they are, what they love, and what they're passionate about. Compliment things that build confidence, not insecurity. "You have such a great sense of humor. I love talking with you. I'm so proud of how kind and thoughtful you are. You're really talented at hobby or skill. I love seeing you do what you enjoy." If health is a genuine concern, approach it with care. Rather than making it about appearance, focus on positive encouragement. Instead of "you need to eat healthier," try "let's cook a delicious meal together," or "I love taking walks. Want to go for one with me?" A young man who once dreaded visiting his grandmother because of constant weight-related comments shared how everything changed when she shifted the focus to spending quality time together instead of pointing out his appearance. Suddenly, visits became enjoyable again, and their bond grew stronger. At the end of the day, grandchildren want to feel accepted for who they are, not how they look. The words spoken to them, even casually, can shape the way they see themselves for years to come. The best gift a grandparent can give is unconditional love and support, helping their grandkids feel confident, valued, and safe in their presence. Fourth thing you should never say: you should have chosen a different career. Many grandparents grew up in a time when stability was everything. Good jobs were defined by security. Careers in medicine, law, teaching, or engineering were seen as the right choices. But today's world is different. The job market has changed. And if you like the video, remember to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. Young people have more career paths than ever, from technology and entrepreneurship to creative fields like filmmaking, gaming, and social media. That's why saying things like "you should have chosen a real job" or "that career won't get you anywhere" can feel disheartening instead of helpful. A young man shared how his grandmother constantly dismissed his career choice, saying, "When will you get a proper job?" He had built a successful online business, but her words made him feel like she didn't respect his work. Here's why comments like this can hurt. They make young people feel unsupported. Even if they're passionate about their career, hearing that it's wrong can be discouraging. They ignore changing industries. Many new careers, like digital marketing, app development, and content creation, didn't exist decades ago, but they're legitimate and often very profitable. They can damage confidence. If someone is still figuring out their path, negative comments can make them doubt themselves rather than feel encouraged. A better way to engage is by asking questions instead of criticizing. Instead of assuming a career choice is a mistake, show curiosity. Tell me more about what you do. I'd love to understand it better. That sounds interesting. What do you enjoy most about your work? I'm proud of you for following your passion. How's everything going? This approach shows that you respect their choices, even if they're different from what you expected. One granddaughter who became a freelance writer shared how her relationship with her grandfather changed when he stopped saying, "You should have been a teacher," and started asking about her work instead. Suddenly, she felt supported instead of criticized. At the end of the day, young people don't need career lectures, they need encouragement. They want their grandparents to be proud of them, no matter what field they choose. Even if their career isn't what you imagined, showing interest and support can make a world of difference in your relationship. Fifth thing you should never say, why don't you have kids yet? For many grandparents, family is everything. Seeing their children and grandchildren start their own families is one of the greatest joys in life. But for young people, the decision to have children, or not, is deeply personal. Asking, "When are you going to have kids?" or "What are you waiting for?" can feel invasive and stressful, even if it's meant with love. A woman in her 30s shared how she and her husband struggled with infertility for years. But every time she visited family, her grandmother would ask, "When will you make me a great-grandmother?" She wanted to scream, but instead, she smiled and changed the subject. What her grandmother saw as a simple question was actually painful and heartbreaking. Here's why this question can hurt. Some people struggle with fertility. Many couples experience difficulty conceiving, and constantly being asked about it can be emotionally exhausting. Not everyone wants children. Some people choose not to have kids, and that decision doesn't mean they're missing out or living the wrong way. It adds unnecessary pressure. Many young people already feel the weight of expectations, reminding them only makes things harder. Instead of asking about children, focus on their present life. A better approach is, what's been bringing you joy lately? How have things been going for you? I love hearing about your adventures. What's something new you've been up to? If they want to talk about children, they will. But by avoiding the question, you allow them to share when they're ready, without feeling pressured. One young man shared how his grandmother's approach changed everything. She used to ask, "When are you having kids?" which made him uncomfortable. But when she switched to, "Tell me about what's making you happy these days," their conversations became closer, deeper, and more enjoyable. At the heart of it, young people want to feel accepted as they are. They don't want to feel like their worth is tied to whether or not they have children. The best way to keep your bond strong? Support them for who they are, not who you expect them to be. Sixth thing you should never say, you never call or visit. Many grandparents long for more time with their grandchildren. They miss them, they love them, and they simply want to be part of their lives. But saying things like "you never call" or "you never come to visit" might not have the effect you hope for. Instead of making them feel guilty enough to visit, it can make them feel pressured, or worse, resentful. A young man in his 20s shared how every phone call with his grandmother ended the same way, "Why don't you call me more? You only remember me when you need something." He loved his grandmother, but her constant guilt-tripping made him less likely to reach out, not more. Why do comments like this create distance instead of bringing people closer? They turn connection into an obligation. If a grandchild feels like every visit or phone call is just about avoiding guilt, they may start avoiding it altogether. They create unnecessary shame. Many young people are busy with work, school, or personal struggles. Instead of feeling excited to talk, they feel bad about not being around enough. They shift the focus away from love. Instead of making the conversation about enjoying time together, it becomes about what they're not doing. A much better way to encourage visits and phone calls is through warmth, not guilt. Instead of saying, "You never call," try, "I always love hearing from you. It makes my day when we talk. I miss you, and I'd love to catch up soon. Let me know when you're free. It's always so nice spending time with you. Let's plan something soon." These statements invite connection instead of demanding it. And if you like the video, remember to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. They make the grandchild feel wanted, not obligated. A young woman who used to avoid calls from her grandmother said everything changed when her grandmother stopped making her feel guilty. Instead of complaining about missed calls, she started saying things like, "I love hearing your voice. Let's talk soon." Suddenly, the young woman wanted to call more often because it felt good, not like a chore. Grandkids don't ignore their grandparents because they don't care. Life gets busy, responsibilities pile up, and time flies. But making them feel appreciated when they do reach out will always make them want to reach out more. At the end of the day, people are drawn to where they feel loved and welcomed, not where they feel guilty. By now, you might recognize some of these phrases from your own life, things you've heard, or maybe even things you've said yourself. But the good news is that small changes in the way we communicate can make a huge difference. Grandparents play a special role in their grandkids' lives. Their love, wisdom, and presence can have a lasting impact. But words matter. Some words bring people closer, while others, without meaning to, push people away. Think about your own relationship with your grandchildren. Do they feel safe talking to you about their lives? Do they feel supported, encouraged, and loved for who they are? If any of the phrases in this video sounded familiar, don't worry, it's never too late to shift the conversation. A small change in wording can transform the way your grandkids feel around you. Instead of asking, "When are you getting married?" ask, "What's something exciting happening in your life?" Instead of saying, "Back in my day, we had it harder," say, "I'd love to hear more about what life is like for you now." Instead of guilt-tripping about visits, say, "I always love seeing you, let's find a time to catch up soon." It's the same love, the same care, just expressed in a way that brings you closer together instead of creating distance. At the end of the day, grandkids don't remember every conversation, but they always remember how you made them feel. Make sure that feeling is warmth, love, and support. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button and subscribe for more insights on strengthening family bonds. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. And if you like the video, remember to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell.